Hi, welcome back to KR Runs. In this series of videos, and this is the first part, I'm going to be discussing the Stryd running power meter, which is just a little pod that you place on the shoelaces of your running shoes. I'm going to try in this series of videos to explain why I'm going all in with the Stryd running power meter. I've been using this power meter now since December 2020, and I've built up a good data set. And I feel like I trust this device now to base all of my training on. So instead of using pace, heart rate, I'm really going to use this power meter as the #1 measurement tool. I'm still going to continue to measure pace, obviously, and heart rate, but I'm going to use this tool to drive my training and drive my racing planning and execution. So in this first video, we're going to head on over to the Stryd Power Center and just have a look at my data, and let's have a look at what it's predicting I'm capable of on a range of distances from 5k, 10k, half marathon and all the way up to the marathon. So let's head on over to the Power Center now. Okay, so here we are in the Stryd Power Center. The two key reasons I'm going all in on Stryd as a tool for training is #1, the way it enables you to correctly pace and gauge your training. So based on the critical power reading that I currently have at 378 watts, I'm able to easily see the levels of intensity I need to apply in my training. So Stryd gives you 5 training zones, zone 1 through to 5, so easy, moderate, threshold, interval and repetition. And those zones are a range of power metrics based on a percentage of critical power. So what is critical power? Well, critical power is the amount of wattage the Stryd Power Center believes you can hold for 50 to 60 minutes. So it's really the level of intensity, the level of power output you can maintain for 60 minutes. So for me at the moment it's 378 watts. Now that number is difficult to compare to other athletes. So to normalize that critical power reading, you take the critical power and divide it by your current body weight. So for me, my racing weight is 73 kilograms. So that comes out at 5.18 watts per kilogram. So that makes your critical power much more easy to compare to another athlete who maybe is a different height, a different weight to you. So 5.18 is my current level of watts per kilo. Now, in terms of the power of Stryd, I now know that if I go out and run in a range between 246 and 303 watts, which is my current zone 1 easy zone, I know I'm going to get an easy workout. Whereas if you look, for example, on the right hand side, yesterday I went out and did a moderate long run. I averaged 326 watts over a 90-minute run. So I actually ran about 14 miles, 22.5 kilometers. That was a moderate effort, and actually by the end of that run I was feeling fairly fatigued. So that was a very good moderate effort. You can see zone 3 threshold. So if I run between 340 and 378 watts, I'm going to get a threshold effort. And intervals, I need to be running those between 378 and 435 watts. So I really like this. Having experienced training to both pace and heart rate zones in the past, I really think the power zones are the best I've used. Definitely better than pace, because running with power you're able to measure your efforts up hills and down hills much better. Whereas if you've just got a pace, let's say I was going to go and run an easy run at 7.5 minute miles. Well, if I'm on a hilly route, if I try and stick to 7.5 minute miles up a hill, that's going to be pretty difficult. Whereas if I know I need to stick to around 250 watts, I'll be able to really gauge that going up the hill. because quite quickly your power readings will increase going uphill, so I'll be able to back off and not worry about pace. Heart rate, I believe from my experience, Stryd has benefits over heart rate as well, especially when it comes to your interval type efforts, your repetition type efforts, where you've got a lag in heart rate. Power is an instant metric. Based on the foot pod, you're really able to gauge your efforts much better using power versus heart rate. So that's my opinion on that. The second reason I'm going all in, Stryd has a really powerful race calculator tool. So we'll just go into that now. So it's set up to look at a full marathon distance, but let's just have a look at a 5 kilometer. So based on my current critical power reading of 378 watts, if we just look at 5 kilometers, so currently Stryd is predicting I should be able to run a 16:12 5 kilometer run based on a target power of 397 watts. Now that's 105% of my critical power. So that's exciting. And the other good thing you can do here is change elevation, temperature and humidity. So let's say I'm going to race at sea level. Let's just put in 10. Let's say temperature, I've been training at 18 degrees here in the UK during summer, so let's say it's actually going to be 13 degrees. And let's say it's going to be a lower humidity, let's say 50, let's say 60% humidity. Okay, so if we recalculate that and see what impact it has on the 16 minutes, you can see now that Stryd is predicting I should be able to go sub 16 based on those conditions. But don't forget, that's also a flat course, so that's very much a top end prediction. The prediction is also plus or minus 20 seconds. So that's based on a power of 402 watts. That's pretty challenging, but that's what the app believes I should be capable of doing. If we look at a 10 kilometer, let's keep those metrics the same. 10 kilometers coming out at 33:20. My current PB is 34:49. So again, that's really exciting to see. If we look at the half marathon, 21.195 kilometers. Half marathon's coming out at 1 hour 14 and 29 seconds. We'll not look at the marathon, but that's coming out around 240, 241, 242. So again, when it comes to race day, so I've got a 5 kilometer race on the 11th of August. I'm going to be plugging these numbers in. On the morning of the race, I'm going to be able to put in some final temperature and humidity metrics to really firm that up. And then that's what I'm going to be going for. So 16:01, 401 watts. I'm going to go into that race fully focused on hitting that target power through the race, trying to have a race strategy. And this is the second reason why I'm going all in on Stryd. Okay, so I hope you found that interesting. So based on my current critical power reading with 378 watts, the Stryd running power meter app is telling me that I should be able to run a range of times from 5k in around 16 minutes 15 up to the marathon in sub 2 hours and 42 minutes. And obviously my key race, the Great North Run, the app is predicting a time of around 75, maybe 76 minutes. So that's really exciting stuff. In the next video, I'm going to take a look at some recent training runs and also some races and parkrun type efforts, and just look at some of the key metrics that Stryd produces, such as ground contact time, leg spring stiffness, vertical oscillation and cadence, and look at those and try and spot some observations, some trends that are important to me, and how I'm going to use those to try and improve my running form longer term, which is going to be a key determinant factor in how I'm able to perform come race day across a range of distances. So I hope you found this useful. If you've got any comments or questions, please leave them down below. I'll speak to you again on the next one.